you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video, and welcome to my NFL 2019 Week 5 recap between the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Carolina Panthers pick up the 34-27 win. This is their first home win of the season. They're also on a 3-game winning streak. They move from 2-2 to 3-2, and the Jacksonville Jaguars fall from 2-2 to 2-3. There's some things I'm going to talk about. Obviously, keys to the Panther victory, and obviously keys to how Jacksonville lost the game. Let's get into the numbers. Gardner Minshew, 26-44, 374 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Now, he should have had a pick. I believe it was at the 140 mark in the fourth quarter. He throws right side of the field, right into the zone. And who was it that I can't remember right now? Who was it that dropped that interception? Just give me 1 second. Bradbury caught it right in his hands. He catches it and he gets hit by DJ Shark and drops it, and that essentially would have ended the game right then and there, because I don't think Jacksonville had many timeouts. I think they probably had one at that time. But I thought Gardner Minshew played a good game. He was able to use his legs when he was under pressure. The Panthers didn't really necessarily adjust to that, because he did get a few first downs with his legs, and he had some nice throws in this game. Now, the downside to it is he did have 3 fumbles. One, the fullback wasn't ready, and the other 2 was pressure. So ball security definitely was an issue in this game for Gardner Minshew. And like I said, he didn't have any picks. He probably should have had the one. But I thought he made some nice throws, and he does look like a guy who, I guess he could essentially potentially be the guy of the future. Now we gotta wait to see how the rest of the season goes with him. But I thought he made some nice throws. I believe he was under pressure 22 times. And their Panthers defensive line, I thought they weren't as good as they were the last couple of games, but they were able to generate some pressure. They did force 2 fumbles. Now, I think the first one wasn't really a forced fumble. The handoff to the fullback, that wasn't really a forced fumble. But the next 2 after that were forced fumbles. Jacksonville's rushing. Leonard Fournette, 23 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. They did stay committed to the run. I thought the Panthers throughout the game did a good job against the run. He had a big run of 48 yards. They were backed up in their own goal line. Like I said, they stayed committed to the run, and Leonard Fournette at this point has been able to stay healthy for him. We'll have to see how the season goes and see if anybody else can step up and give him like a rest or whatever. Gardner Minshew, 7 carries, 42 yards. Like I said, he broke contain a lot. He was able to pick up first downs with his legs. And I don't know if the Panthers didn't do they didn't look at game tape, but the guy has some athleticism. The guy can run. So the Panthers, they really weren't prepared for the times he did run. Jacksonville receiving, DJ Shark was a beast in this game. He was a beast. 8 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Ross Cockrell was bad in this game. That's who drew the assignment most of the time in this game. And DJ Shark, you're talking about a 20-yard average per reception. So he was getting big gains on him. But he had a great game. He had a really great game. D.D. Westbrook, 7 receptions, 82 yards. Shaughnessy, 3 receptions, 57. Leonard Fournette, 4 receptions for 29. Conley, 1 reception for 26. And no one had over 1 reception or over 7 yards. But DJ Shark was definitely, we're giving the game ball to a player. If Jacksonville was giving the game ball to a guy who they thought performed the best, definitely DJ Shark. He had a really, really good game. Defensively, I thought the secondary for Jacksonville was good. The Panthers' passing offense was really not there. The windows were tight. There were a couple completed passes, but there were some completed passes, but it was in tight windows. I know one DJ Moore had over AJ Boye, and it was a 50-50 ball essentially. And DJ Moore was able to win that battle, but that was the type of coverage that the Panthers the Panthers receivers saw throughout the game. So I feel as though the Jacksonville secondary, even without Jalen Ramsey, who at this point are when are they going to trade him? He clearly doesn't want to be there. But I thought the secondary for Jacksonville played pretty good. Now the problem on Jacksonville's side, they didn't generate a ton of pressure. I think a lot of it was the secondary, especially a guy like Calais Campbell, who's the guy they rely on to create a lot of that pressure. But the run defense was bad. They gave up some huge runs. 84-yard to Christian McCaffrey, and they gave up a big run which was a touchdown, and they gave up a big run to Reggie Bonifant, the Panthers' backup, when Christian McCaffrey was on the bench. They gave up a big run for a touchdown to him. So the run defense was not good for Jacksonville. And we're just talking about a team they've had a good run defense in the past. Now they've been success. That was one of their weaknesses, even when they were good, even when the defense was playing good, the secondary was playing good. That run defense, that was a weakness even then. It was a little bit harder to exploit, just because how good the pass defense was, and the fact that they could put more guys in the box because they trusted in those corners so much. But it definitely was bad in this game. I believe they gave up 285 yards, which I think was 27 carries in total for 285 yards, which is a little bit over 10 yards a carry. You're not going to beat too many teams like that when they're able to run the ball all over you like that. Carolina side, Kyle Allen, 17-30, 181 yards and a touchdown. It was a complete game. He was game manager in this game, man. A lot of the throws were contested. Some throws he missed. He probably should have had a pick where he just didn't see Miles Jack drop back into a zone. He throws it high. He probably saw him at the last minute and threw it high because I'm pretty sure he didn't see him. Initially before he threw the ball, he probably saw him at the last second, threw the ball kind of high, but. You can honestly say that could have been a pick. Miles Jack still had a chance at it. So Kyle Allen, complete game manager mode. He still had the two fumble. He still fumbled the ball twice. One was called back. I believe it was a defensive holding penalty, and the other one was recovered by Curtis Samuel. So dude still has problems with ball security. It's just something I don't think he's gonna fix. And dude's not that good. I know a lot of Panthers fans. Happy that the team's winning and they're gonna give him the credit. No. It's been the pass rush, and it's been Christian McCaffrey is why this team has won the last 3 games. It's been those two things: Christian McCaffrey, all the things he can do as a receiver, running, of course running out of the backfield, all the things that Christian McCaffrey can do. And the pass rush, they've been able to generate a lot of pressure. They're one of the top teams in terms of sacks. That's the reason this team is on a 3-game winning streak. Kyle Allen had a good game against Arizona and has not had a good game since then. He didn't play good against Houston. Didn't play well in this game. He was in complete game manager mode. Christian McCaffrey did have a pass. He was 0 of 1. Still, I want to talk about that. That play call. I don't know about that one. They did go for it on 4th down, but I still think there's no reason to do all this trick play crap. You run up the gut. You've been running the ball all over them that day. So what's the point in changing? I honestly thought it should have been like a fullback dive with Alex Armour. Kind of change it up a bit. None of this. I just hate when teams, all you need is a yard and you do a trick play. I hate when teams do that. Carolina rushing, Christian McCaffrey, 19 carries, 176 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dude was a beast. Not only that, but also as a receiver. Reggie Bonifant, five carries. If I said receptions, I'm sorry. Reggie Bonifant, 5 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. He had a big 59-yard touchdown that I brought up earlier. And like I said, they were able to gash the Jacksonville defense. And that was a time where Christian McCaffrey was off the field with undisclosed injury. He looked like an ankle. He was kind of limping. So hopefully he'll be able to play next week. But that was your time to get off the field, and you give up a big run to the backup who's barely played. I mean, that run, it didn't essentially end the game because it was, at the time, Panthers were up 28-27, but it made it that much harder. Curtis Samuel also had 2 carries for 26 yards. Like I said, Panthers 27 carries total, 285 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Sorry if I said 2. They had 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, that Jacksonville run defense was looking real suspect in this game. Carolina receiving, really not much. DJ Moore, 6 receptions, 91 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. If you had this guy on your fantasy team, you did pretty good this week. And we're talking about 3 touchdowns, and 237 total yards. The dude's been insane this year, and I'm hoping that he plays next week because he is the offense. He's the offense, and I think maybe they found something else in Bonifant. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. It is Bonifant. That's what I'm gonna call him. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. You know how NFL football players and saying their names. There's guys that's been on the team in the past. I've messed up names or when talking about another team. But he's a guy they picked up undrafted. So I do know. I went back, all the guys that the Panthers got, I went back and looked at them. I was surprised that they did keep him. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with them. They were going to use him on special teams or, essentially using him as a back, as the second guy. I thought they were going to go with Jordan Scarlett as that second running back, but they went with him. He did have a big run, so he does show that breakaway speed. It was great blocking on that play, in particular, that he had the 59-yard touchdown run. But we'll see. He's going to get more carries next week, even if, because there's no way, I'm not sure if Christian McCaffrey's going to be 100%. Like I said, still, I haven't actually looked it up, but like I said, he wasn't able to play at the end of the game. So we're going to see more of Reggie Bonifant next game, especially if Christian McCaffrey's not 100%. And this should have been a thing. This is something I always talked about. Ron Rivera likes to run, he doesn't like to give Christian McCaffrey a break. They're gonna run him into the ground. Get somebody else in there that could take a few carries and get him off the field. Get him some breaks. Even with some of these top running backs in the league, that's what you got to do to keep your guys fresh as you're going through the season, because injuries are going to start becoming more likely when you got all that wear and tear throughout the season. It's just what it is. Defensively, Shaq Thompson played really well. Ross Cockrell did not. He gave up a big touchdown, and he was a lot of DJ Shark's receptions. It was Ross Cockrell on him. I think up front they played pretty good. They did give up a 48-yard run by Leonard Fournette, but other than that, I think they did a solid job against the run, especially seeing as run defense hasn't been that great this season. The pass defense has actually been better. And that's something that's like kind of weird for this Panther team. Talking about a team who had a streak. I wish that streak ended a while ago. They had a streak of not allowing 100-yard rushers. And it was always up front. Being able to get pressure on the quarterback, which they've been able to do, and the run defense, which, that was something in the past. But this year, they haven't been as good against the run. They've been good against the pass. And a lot of it has to do with pressure. We're talking, with all these young guys. Brian Burns had a good game. He had a forced fumble. He also had a fumble recovery return for a touchdown. Mario Addison had a forced fumble where he pushes Norwell back into the quarterback. Those are the type of because the secondary I still don't think is that good. I think Bradbury is underrated. He's solid. I don't really per se like the safeties. Those guys are decent against the run, but I don't know about pass coverage because there were holes in that cover 2 zone that Minshew was able to find. You're going to see more teams find that in the middle part of the field between the safeties and the linebackers, there is a hole there where plays can be made. And you're going to see more teams make plays against them unless these safeties play better. And those guys just don't break as well on the ball as you want a safety to do. But like I said, I like what the front four has been able to do. They haven't brought as much pressure as I would like, but with the front four, when your front four is still able to get pressure, it allows you to sit back, to drop extra guys back in coverage, knowing that, those 4 guys, there's a good chance they can generate some pressure, force some errant throws. You'll probably get some turnovers off of it. So I like what I've seen from the defense. Still, the secondary did give us some plays. Dante Jackson wasn't in this game. And I think, he didn't play in the last game against Houston. But he's a guy that they need out there. Ross Cockrell he just doesn't. Dante Jackson, what he lacks for, and, if he gets like beat or whatever, he makes up for in recovery speed. You're talking about one of the in his draft, which was last season, he was one of the fastest players. So he does have that recovery speed. So hopefully he'll play next week. Looking at the team stats, kind of go through keys of victory for both teams. Jaguars 6-13 on 3rd down. Panthers were 4 of 12. Panthers have also not converted a 4th down this season. Ridiculous. Let me see. Jacksonville had 507 yards of total offense. Carolina 445. 285 of those was rushing. Penalties. Panthers usually not a heavily penalized team, but they did have 8 penalties for 70 yards, while Jacksonville had 9 penalties for 84. So more penalties than the Panthers usually get. Jacksonville, they're pretty heavily penalized. I believe they're in the top 10. Could be wrong on that. Keys to the victory for the Panthers: the running game, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, and capitalizing off turnovers. They had 14 points off turnovers, off the 3 Jacksonville fumbles. And the keys to the loss for Jacksonville: you can't turn the ball over. Carolina was able to take care of the ball. They didn't turn it over. The 3 turnovers and bad run defense, giving up big plays against the run. Penalties, you can throw penalties in there too, because they had some really bad penalties that hurt some drives. Time of possession: Jacksonville 32 minutes 24 seconds, Carolina 27 minutes 36 seconds. I'm sorry. So time of possession, around the same. There's about a 5-minute difference. Jacksonville, I don't know what they're gonna do with Jalen Ramsey, but they got to shirk their run defense. Now, you're playing against one of the better backs. I think Christian McCaffrey is one of the more underrated players in football. No one really talks about him. It's probably because a lot of people just don't watch. Outside of, the Carolinas, a lot of people don't watch the Panther games unless it's national televised, obviously. So they just don't see what Christian McCaffrey's doing. They probably go look at fantasy and like, oh, this guy's killing it, which he is. This guy, coming into the league, teams thought he couldn't run between the tackles. Look at a lot of analysts. They thought he couldn't run between the tackles. He's able to do it. Still think you should get those breaks and put somebody else in to carry the load a little bit. But I think dude showed that he can play all over the field. Good pass protector, but despite his size, of course, he coming in, he was the best receiving back in his draft class. So he's been the whole offense for the Panthers. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Sorry this video went a little bit longer. There was some extra things I want to say, especially about like the offense and Kyle Allen or whatever. He's not that good. You got a lot of people that don't like Cam Newton. Kyle Allen's not that good. He's game managed the last 2 games. That's essentially what it is. He game managed the last 2 games, and he still has problems fumbling the ball. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.